Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Doc Watkins Show. I'm your host, Doc Watkins, with more special musical requests from you, our viewers. We've got a fantastic show ahead for you all with special guests Kris Alvarado and Kris Vargas of the Dirty River Dixie Band, and we'll also be welcoming San Antonio's own Mayor Nurenberg later on in the program. We're going to get to some music in just a second, but let's take a look at the Jazz Texas News. The Arkansas Department of Health issued a cease and desist letter for what would have been their first indoor concert of the pandemic. In order to keep all the Arkansans happy, they decided instead to convert the concert into a monster truck rally. Katy Perry's new album drops in August, and Perry says she plans to disappear for a bit in preparation for the birth of her first child. Music lovers around the world are hoping Katy continues to have more children, so she'll disappear more often. Former NBA player and analyst Kendrick Perkins has criticized Michael Jordan for breaking every player code imaginable, including Jordan bullying his teammates and gossiping about their personal lives as portrayed in ESPN's recent documentary, The Last Dance. Meanwhile, Golden State Warriors shooting guard Klay Thompson has criticized the media for not pretending that he's relevant. An 84-year-old alligator, rumored to belong to Adolf Hitler, has died at the Moscow Zoo. Zookeepers realized it was Hitler's when the alligator became filled with rage and tried to invade Poland. The Supreme Court will decide whether state laws penalizing electoral college voters who vote against their state's popular vote is unconstitutional. If you or one of your loved ones live in Texas and are an electoral college voter who wants justice, then call Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer. He stands tough and carries a big, big hammer. Call 777-HAMMER. Bring it on. It's hammer time. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons is releasing prisoners ahead of schedule due to the health risks caused by the spread of COVID-19. In related news, with the number of all the convicts, the number of jazz musicians now available for paid gigs has tripled. And finally, astronomers have spotted a giant galaxy that formed 12.5 billion years ago. But according to scientists, this galaxy has no business being in the distant universe. And in a related story, local astronomers have spotted a giant tool who has no business being in San Antonio. That's it for the Jazz Texas News. And now we turn to the music. This next tune is by special request. This one goes out to Mark. This is a song that was originally featured in the movie The Sound of Music. It was also recorded by John Coltrane. It's called My Favorite Things. Mark, thank you for the request. Here goes. Thank you very much, everybody. That's my favorite things. That one goes out to Mark. Thank you for the request. This next tune is also by special request. But first, before I play it, I'd like to give a big shout out to a couple very special friends of mine. I've got a new piano here. It's a new Kawhi grand piano that we got in just the other day to use for our broadcasts, and it was donated courtesy of our friends over at Alamo Music. So Kevin and Adriana and Alfred and everybody over on the Alamo Music team, thanks so much for hooking us up with this wonderful instrument for the coming weeks. We really, really appreciate you guys. And also, I want to give a huge shout out to the man behind the scenes doing all the legwork with the cameras and the switchers and the monitors and the audio and everything. You've been seeing him for the last 6 shows, and he's with Wizard Broadcasting. Make sure and give him a lot of love. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kris Zients. This next special request comes from several people. This one goes out to Mike and to Sharon, who Sharon just retired from 22 years at USAA. Congratulations, Sharon, and hope you enjoy your retirement. I'm retired as well. It's wonderful. Also, this one goes out to Jonathan, so thank you all for the request. This is a tune that I wrote last year called Hildebrand Avenue, and if you're a native to San Antonio, you know Hildebrand is one of our classic, iconic streets. It's been around for a long time, and it's right by my house, so I named this tune after it. So hope you enjoyed. This is Hildebrand Avenue. That's Hildebrand Avenue by special request. Thank you all very much. We also recorded that tune about a year ago with Brandon Guerra on the drums, Mike Porter on the bass, and Jason Galbraith on the tenor saxophone. And that recording is out there. It's available on CD and on Spotify and iTunes and everything. So I hope you check it out. It's called Hildebrand Avenue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first special guests for tonight are San Antonio natives and leaders of the local Dixieland group, the Dirty River Dixie Band. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome drummer Kris Alvarado and trumpeter Mr. Kris Vargas. That's Kris Vargas and Kris Alvarado from the Dirty River Dixie Band, everybody. That's a tune called Bourbon Street Parade. Thank you very much. All right, well, we are very, very happy to have these cats in the room here. It's been a couple months since I've seen them, and if you're a Jazz Texas fan, if you're one of our regulars, these guys were here, you know, as much as almost every night, a lot of weeks playing jazz with my band and with their band, and they're playing in other people's bands and everything, and so we're so happy to welcome you guys to the show. Kris and Kris, can't tell you apart. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Good to be here, Doc.
So, first question, I hear that the Riverwalk, much like pollution all over the world, is clearing up and the skies of Los Angeles are clear for the first time in a long time. The Riverwalk is now running clear. Do you feel that that's hurting your reputation?
We banked on the river being dirty for a long time.
Have you thought about changing your name to the Clean River?
We're thinking
Dixie
the
Band?
Pure River. Pure River.
Pure River.
I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
As much as you dog on a certain, basketball player who went to Toronto, Mr. Kawhi Leonard, I kind of find it ironic you're playing on this. What kind of piano is this right now?
Well, first of all, I've never dogged on Kawhi Leonard. I don't know what you're talking about. And secondly, the spelling. If you look at the spelling of the Kawhi piano versus the Kawhi Leonard
We like the piano spelling better.
piano. Yeah, there's actually a Kawhi Leonard spelling piano, and we didn't get that one. That was the one that we didn't get. Next question, guys. This is a serious one. It's kind of you guys are continuing the tradition of traditional jazz, which was popular in the teens and 20s and the 30s about 100 years ago. And ironically, this music was really big during Prohibition when bars were closed down. And now here, 100 years later, you guys are playing this music again, and they closed down the bars, and we're in the 20s. Do you guys feel like you might be responsible?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of the perfect storm, really. The only downfall is that we can't really play in public. So we've been doing a lot of live streams and stuff from home. And,
but I mean, do you think this might all be your fault?
I mean,
because of the time.
I think it's his fault.
I think that's okay. I'm kind of okay with it. Like, I'll take the blame if it really
Any
needs
publicity
to
is good publicity. So
See,
we'll
Kris
take
is
it.
a true band leader because if the bad thing, you got to take the blame when the thing. So he's like, yeah, it was my fault. Sure, okay. The guys
down with the ship, right?
They didn't do anything wrong. It was all me.
Down with the ship, yeah, to the end.
But seriously, so you guys have a new album coming out. You postponed it a little bit, but it's like a week away. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's a new album we worked on kind of at the beginning of the year, and it was at Bee Creek Studios in Spicewood, Texas. With Steve Starnes, and it's kind of dedicated to Jim Cullum. We have some awesome artwork done by Sarah Glace here in San Antonio that kind of features Jim and everything on it, so it's actually really nice. And pretty much all the tunes we recorded on it were inspired by Jim or we learned from Jim. So it's kind of dedicated to him and kind of everything he taught us and everything. So it's a pretty good album. It's the best one we put out, I think.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. It's the same lineup. A lot of people who have seen us here at Jazz Texas, full 7-piece, everybody, Tyler, Edwin, everybody. But we had an extra addition. We brought in a secret weapon, and we brought in Curtis Calderon on it. So we're doing kind of the Joe King Oliver and Louis Armstrong thing. And we recorded a lot of stuff. It's called High Life in San Antonio, and it's available for pre-order right now. And the second week, I believe, of June is when we'll be sending out some actual hard copies. So come and check that out. It's a great album, and we're really fortunate. Curtis, you just had him, I believe, a week or two ago on the broadcast, and For Freshmen, he's a killer player, and he's on there, so you definitely want to check it out.
But how does it feel to be the young generation of cats continuing this music on? Because this music is older than anybody that we even know. That's it goes back so long, and you guys really are the ones that are pioneering this music. You have a really well rehearsed and put together band. Do you feel like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders?
I don't know. I think we just have fun. I think it originally started off with Jim coming to Telia to do a concert and his band, and then we met him, and then it started. And then I don't think we could even have dreamed in our wildest dreams that we just did our first East Coast tour this last summer, and it's the same comment we get from everybody, really young. So I think the oldest guy in the band is Tyler. He's prehistoric. I think he's like 32 or 33. But and the youngest guy, I'm the youngest one. I'm 27. Yeah. So we have a good time. So I don't know. I think we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing and see what happens.
Well, you guys are just starting out, and a lot of people have emailed us saying, how can we help the local scene? How can we help down at Jazz Texas? And I'll tell you how you can do that. You can buy the albums the musicians have recorded, because most bands have recorded multiple albums. These guys are constantly working. Once they release their first album, they do the next one. By the time they have the album release party, these guys are already working on the next one. So the Dirty River Dixie Band has albums already out, and they're about to release their brand new one. Please go and look them up on social media, online. They're easy to find. It's the Dirty River Dixie Band, and they have new albums. They have old albums. Please buy them and support these guys. Things are starting to open up, and they're taking some gigs. Dixieland is an inherently acoustic style of music, and so you can hire them out in the street, on the sidewalk, put them out in the field,
in your bedroom, anywhere.
Pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. Well, and you brought that up. The last album we actually recorded live here. You were gracious enough to let us do that live in Crazy, and that's actually on vinyl. So you got to check that out. And Sarah Uloa joined us on that one. But yeah, acoustic. So what you're hearing on this record, all the guys were in the same room at the same exact time, and it happened at that moment. So
it's a real deal.
We've got our first gig, this weekend at Bar 301, kind of heading out towards Bernie. It'll be a quartet, and then we've got one on the first Thursday of next month over at Luna, and they've been doing a pretty good job of social distancing. So it's a good place to come and check out and see if you're comfortable with it.
Great. Make sure, buy the album, go online, support these guys, do whatever you can. Let's play some more music, guys. We had a special request that I think would be great for you fellas, and this next number goes out to, on her 50th birthday, Angelia, 50th birthday. Also, this one goes out to Linda and Travis. It's a beautiful tune as played by the great Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World. That's Kris Alvarado and Kris Vargas. They'll be back in just a little bit later on in the show. Thank you all for the request. What a wonderful world. Thank you very much, y'all. All right. Well, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new segment for you. For the first time ever tonight, we realize that many people are stuck at home trying to find fun stuff to do, fun things to do indoors like playing board games and other activities. And everybody's trying to keep themselves busy and stay occupied. Here at Jazz Texas, we decided to come up with our own board game for you that you can play at home and can play along right here with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you the board game. Now, if you're not familiar with how the board game works, we pick two famous people who are both boring, we compare them, and then I get to decide who's the biggest bore. Let's play. Tonight on the board game, who's more boring, Justin Bieber or William Howard Taft? Justin Bieber is a singer and songwriter. He's a Canadian. He speaks mostly fluent French. He was discovered on YouTube when he was about 13 years old. He's also received 10 Grammy nominations, but he's only won one, so I guess he has a current batting average of 100, which is far beneath the so-called Mendoza line. All in all, pretty boring. On the other hand, William Howard Taft was the 27th president of the United States. He worked briefly as a reporter. His nickname was Big Bill. He lost 70 pounds after leaving the White House. Taft was a peacetime president. He gave a lot of speeches, but was never really quoted by anyone important. Also pretty boring. It's a toss-up, really, but if I had to pick one, who's the most boring between Justin Bieber and President Taft, the correct answer is Justin Bieber. Thank you for playing the board game. All right, this next tune goes out to Carla. I'm going to play a bossa nova for you now. This is one of my favorite songs. Carla, thank you for the request. This tune's called The Girl from Ipanema. It was written by Antonio Carlos Jobim, one of the great Brazilian composers of all time. Carla, I hope you enjoy this one. This one's for you. Thank you very much, everyone. That was the girl from Ipanema. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my next special guest needs absolutely no introduction. He was raised in Austin, Texas, and attended the college in San Antonio. He's the son of an immigrant from Southeast Asia and the grandson of immigrants from Eastern Europe who passed through Ellis Island. Through his personal experiences, he has developed a core commitment to civic participation and the universal values of liberty, justice, and equal opportunity for every person. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome San Antonio Mayor, Mr. Ron Nurenberg. Hello,
Hey, Doc.
Mr. Mayor.
Great to see you.
Great to see you
like
too.
I'm
How you
there.
doing?
I feel like I'm there.
Yeah?
I've got
Well,
old-fashioned and I'm listening to great jazz and feels like I'm there.
I don't know what you're really doing here, Mayor. This show is completely beneath you. But thank you for coming on. I'd like to get right down to it, if you don't mind. Mr. Mayor, what legislations would you support that will stop Kawhi Leonard from ever screwing the city over again?
I think exile in Canada sounds like the thing that would do the trick.
I agree. Mr. Mayor, of the following four mayors, who do you most model yourself after? Mayor Diamond, Joe Quimby from The Simpsons, Mayor Lenny from Ghostbusters, the mayor of Portland from Portlandia, or Mayor Goldie Wilson from Back to the Future?
Oh, wow. You know, there's a great scene in Ghostbusters where Bill Murray convinces Mayor Lenny, that he has to take the ghosts and the paranormal seriously, and he does, and so I think I can relate to that under the circumstances.
I was thinking the exact same thing, actually. Yeah. So I'm curious if you can. I'm a student of politics, and I've always wondered with the mayor position, like if you become the president, you have the vice president who sort of runs which is sort of like the on-deck circle for being the next president, because vice president, tends to be the one that they pick to be the next guy, and they hope, and you have that guy sort of as the number two. He's like the support mechanism and everything, but with the mayor and with the governor too, I haven't heard of like a vice governor, and I've noticed on a lot of live streams and stuff with the mayor, there's not a vice mayor, and I've noticed an on-deck hitter, I would think, and my question is that, do you think there may be if you wanted to, do you have the power legislatively to create a vice mayor position, and how would one go about applying for that?
I don't know if I have that authority. I think it's probably given in the charter, so it would probably be an election, but if it's in name only, sort of like a backup guitarist, it would probably be someone who knows how to play the piano.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think someone who was trying to have his own show that also played the piano would even be better. So I want to go back to when you and I met. You were the station director at KRTU, which is based out of Trinity University here in San Antonio. It's an absolutely
best jazz radio station in the world.
Best jazz radio station in the world. And I've told friends in New York and Los Angeles and in Waxahachie all the same thing, and it's the truth. Those guys are so good, and you were the station manager when we first met. You're a saxophonist. You've been down here to Jazz Texas, enjoyed some tunes and everything. Say what?
You said I'm a saxophonist?
I didn't say that. What instrument do you play?
Trombone.
Right. Yeah. And you're terrific too. And you've been down to Jazz Texas and everything. And there is a rumor that you were at one point in my band, and that I fired you. But that's a complete rumor, and I know it because I started that rumor a few years ago. Thought it would be good for business.
I would have been honored to be in your band, Doc.
I don't have a band right now. But if I were to have one, you'd be in it. Talk about jazz. I want to know why do you love jazz so much? Why is it important for our city? What can everybody do to support local cats in this time?
Well, there's a lot of reasons for jazz, to love jazz, and love jazz in San Antonio. I think a lot of people don't recognize San Antonio's place on the map with regard to the role of jazz in America. Jazz is as close to an expression of American culture as you can get. other than maybe democracy and baseball. And so San Antonio's place on the map, culturally speaking, is really only rivaled by New Orleans in terms of the kinds of cultures that mixed in this particular area. And, always at crossroads do you see the kind of birth of new art form. And so the West Side sound, the soul sound that you hear in earlier forms of jazz is very much a product of San Antonio. So that's number one. Number two, I think it's just a great expression of the spirit. Improvisation is the hallmark of jazz. The swing, the sort of rebelliousness of the sound, based on more traditional meters and things like that. I think it all speaks to the American spirit. There's nothing more American than jazz music. So those are just a few reasons why I love it. Plus, it's a great sound.
Who's your favorite jazz trombonist?
Kai Winding.
What's that?
Kai Winding.
Kai Winding.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he played in like the 50s and 60s.
Gosh,
sort of a cool sound.
We never met. I'm gonna go check him out. I'm gonna go check him out tonight. Back to the one more serious question. Mm-hmm. When you retire from being mayor, how does that work with your successor? Can you pick the guy?
I wish, but that's not how it works.
If you wanted to change the legislation so you could pick the guy, would you?
I could put a vote in, but just like you.
Yeah, all right, Mayor, you've been so terrific. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Last question. This is kind of a hardball one, and I hope you don't mind. I like to keep it light and joke around, but I would have to. I would be remiss if I didn't throw this out at you. It's a difficult question to ask. We talked a little bit about politics. If you had to vote for either Kawhi Leonard or Vladimir Putin as our next president,
who would I vote for?
Yeah.
You didn't answer the question, Doc. That would be fairly easy. It would be Kawhi Leonard.
I would go for Putin for sure.
Everybody deserves a second chance.
Yeah,
Putin has long since passed many of them.
Mr. Mayor, you've been terrific. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to see you in person down here at the club. And
likewise.
Thank you so much for everything that you're doing for us. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We'll see you soon, okay?
You too, Doc. Thanks for keeping playing.
You bet. Anytime. Mayor Ron Nurenberg, everybody. All righty. Well, we have a couple more special requests for you now. Back to the music. I'd like to play a song by George Gershwin called Our Love Is Here to Stay. And this one goes out to Pete and Kathy. Thank you for the request, everybody. Thank you very much, all. That's Our Love Is Here to Stay by George Gershwin to Pete and Kathy. We got time to do just one more tune for y'all tonight. We're going to have some fun and take y'all back to New Orleans. We do New Orleans night here just about every Friday at Jazz Texas normally. And I want to invite my friends Kris Alvarado on the drums and Kris Vargas on the trumpet back to the stage. We're going to play a little When the Saints Go Marching In. Y'all ready, fellas? That's Kris Alvarado on the drums. Kris Vargas on the trumpet, everybody. Thank you all so much. Thank you, fellas, for coming out. All right. Well, that's it for us this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Doc Watkins Show tonight. We will be live every Tuesday and Friday for the time being, live streaming here at 8 o'clock, so please make sure and tune in on Friday night. We've got more special guests, including actor Alan Havey from Mad Men and Billions and many other shows joining us on the program on Friday night, so make sure and tune in, tell all your friends, and we're so glad to spend these times with you, so thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you all next time. Thank you and good night.